Dan Wynn and Jason Minix talk exclusively with the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett. Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. MyBestBailBonds.com.
The Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles 17-3 yesterday up in Philadelphia. Let's talk about it with the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett, joining us now, courtesy of our friends at AA Best Bail Bonds. Coach, just the way you drew it up, a defensive slugfest, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was interesting how the whole game unfolded. Obviously, both teams have been playing pretty well on offense, and you never know how these games in the NFL are going to play themselves out. And the biggest thing that we had to do in that ball game is find a way to slow those guys down on offense, particularly that running back LaShawn McCoy. I thought our defense did a great job of that, and we played well enough on offense and in the kicking game to do what we needed to do to win the ball game.
Coach Jason Garrett here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Everybody going into this football game thought it was going to be an offensive shootout. How hard is it as a coach, as a coaching staff, when you see the game is turning into a defensive battle like that, to change up everything on the fly?
Well, it just you're playing the game really. The game that needs to be played to win the game is really the best way to describe it. And, you try to do that each and every week. And, essentially what it comes down to is going out and executing in all three phases. And, offensively, we did not want to keep the score down. Our objective was to score as many points as we could, and we were trying to execute, and we did some good things on offense. We didn't do a great job sustaining drives. Our third down conversion rate wasn't what we needed to be, and that slowed us down and prevented us from having some of the scoring opportunities we would have liked to have had. But defensively, I thought we did an outstanding job. They've been very explosive on offense, moving the ball and scoring points, and particularly running the ball very effectively. And that was the challenge for our guys up front, our guys in the secondary, to slow that run down and come up and tackle and not let LaShawn McCoy really get going. And I thought for the most part throughout the ball game we did a great job of that, keeping him contained. And I thought on the back end when they did throw the football, our guys covered really, really well and really minimized their opportunities to make any plays.
Coach, you just talking about the defense, and the defense has played well the last 2 weeks. I thought they've been great. What has changed on that defensive side? What did you guys do of late here the last couple of weeks?
Well, you want to improve over the course of the season, so you want to learn from the experience you've had. We played with a lot of different combinations, particularly on our defensive line. But guys have come in and just tried to learn what we're asking them to do as quickly as possible, and then just go out and play. And I think we did that, across the front with some different guys playing. And then the play that we got from our linebackers and on the back end, I thought was outstanding in the game against Philadelphia, and also dates back to the play that we had against Washington. Those guys, Brandon Carr and Mo Claiborne and Orlando Scandrick, and the safety play we've gotten from Church and Wilcox, they've done a real solid job back there minimizing the big plays that the opposing offenses can make.
Tough to go into a game like that without DeMarcus Ware. Misses the first game of his career, which is amazing. And I know you're busy coaching, but on TV they kept showing DeMarcus Ware coaching up those young guys. Talk about his leadership.
Yeah, he's an outstanding leader, and it starts with his, just the way he goes to work each and every day, how he comes to practice, his work ethic throughout practice, and certainly his approach and the production that he has each week on Sunday afternoon. And, he's just a great football player. He's great for a lot of different reasons. He has outstanding physical talent. He's quick, he's explosive, he's all the things you want in a player physically. But as much as that, he's the right kind of guy, and he works really hard at it. He's very much of a team guy, and I think his example to the young guys is fantastic. His example to the whole football team, players and coaches included, has been remarkable over the course of his career. And, when he couldn't play in this ball game, he's a team guy and embraced his opportunity to contribute. And a lot of that was just staying with the new guys and really helping them through that ball game. And he did that throughout the game, and a real asset to our football team.
And another guy that I was looking at was Sean Lee. This guy has been consistent. He's been making plays. And can you share with us a couple of words about Sean Lee?
Sean's a fantastic football player, and I know from the perspective that you watch the game, you know what a good linebacker is, and he's a fantastic linebacker, and in so many different ways he impacts the ball game. He's a great run defender, continues to make plays as a pass defender. Had another interception in the game yesterday, and he's a great leader for our team. He gets guys lined up. He communicates really well, but more than anything else, he, like DeMarcus, they're great examples to everybody as to how you want to go about it each and every day and how you want to play on Sundays. And, he's one of those guys who's so instinctive. And, Dad, you are exactly like this. You guys somehow, some way diagnose things quicker than other guys, and you see what the offense is trying to do, and boom, you're aggressive to making those plays. And Sean Lee just seems to be able to do that quicker and faster than everybody else, and it's the reason he's around the football. A lot of it has to do with his study habits, how well he prepares for each game. He recognizes the looks and attacks them, but also he just has great instincts for the game, and continues to show up week in and week out. We're lucky to have him on our football team.
Dallas Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. He joins us every Monday here on the Blitz. Coach, Tony Romo became the passing yardage leader after 100 starts, passes. Peyton Manning, all those guys, he now tops that list after 100 starts. You know the kind of criticism that Tony Romo takes, but man, and yesterday was kind of one of those odd games, but after Philadelphia kicked that field goal, he marched the team right down the field for that touchdown pass. When you think about Tony Romo and the criticism that he takes, but you see every day why Jerry Jones gave him that contract and what he has meant to this football team. Where is it? What do you see in Tony Romo that some fans that often criticize him don't see?
Well, I think the biggest thing from Tony's perspective that you have to understand is, there's a lot of attention that comes with the position that he has, and some of that attention is going to be really positive, and some of it's going to be negative, and that's just part of the deal. It comes with the dinner, as we say, and what he needs to do is continue to focus on doing his job to the best of his ability, playing quarterback at a really high level, and leading this football team. And I think he's done a fantastic job of doing that over the course of his career. And numbers aside, we're not really focused that much on numbers around here, but just playing the game at a high level, and he really does that. I think he's getting better and better, really, with every start that he has, and I just think he grows so much as a player, and he certainly was critical to the success we had in the ball game yesterday. At different times in the game, we weren't able to move the football, but like you said, when we needed it, he did a great job leading our football team down and scoring another touchdown and making it a two-score game with not a whole lot of time to go, and really allowing us to ice the game and finish them off. And he did a great job, throughout the ball game, but particularly at crunch time to help us win that game.
Coach, Miles Austin came back last week, and you said it was okay in the game last week, and all of a sudden, how much should we read into Beasley taking a nod as a starting receiver in the game yesterday?
Well, Miles had a really good start to the season for us, made a number of plays, and was very productive. I think he caught 10 balls against the Giants and, had a really good start for us. And then he tweaked that hamstring a few weeks ago, and he's been dealing with that. And, he's missed some time. He came back in the Washington game and played, and then, might have tweaked it again. And so the big thing with him is getting healthy. He only practiced one day last week. He practiced on Wednesday, and then he didn't practice Thursday and Friday. And we just, we were able to keep him up for the game because of the other injuries that we had, and just wanted to play him to the extent that he was able to play. And, I thought he did a good job working his way through it, but he's not quite himself right now. And, we're fortunate to have a couple of young guys to be able to step up into that role. Terrence Williams has done a really good job for us, and Cole Beasley continues to take advantage of the opportunities that he gets. So to be able to have those guys contribute as much as they have in Miles' absence has been really good for our football team.
And Coach, to follow up on that, knowing how well Beasley and Williams are playing, if you need an extra roster spot, say this week against Detroit, would you opt to sit Miles Austin down because those other two guys are playing so well?
Well, we'll just evaluate how his hamstring is throughout the course of the week. And, again, we'll err on the side of caution with him. We want to make sure our players are healthy and capable of playing at the level that they need to play at. So we'll see how he progresses as the week goes on and make our best decisions. But it's good to know that we have those two other guys who we can go and function with, and those guys can make some plays for us.
Coach Jason Garrett with us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. You think of Beasley, 6 catches, 53 yards in yesterday's win over Philadelphia. Last year he quit football for a couple of days, and from all the reports, you guys went after him and convinced him to come back. When you think about a player, he wasn't a high draft pick, anything like that. What did you see in Cole Beasley that made you pursue him after he quit the game?
It was interesting. He came to training. He came to our OTAs and our mini camp in the spring, and really made a very positive impression on our coaching staff and on our scouts. And we had such a good evaluation of him once we left here in the spring, and then we came back to training camp. And I can remember being the first or second day, he just didn't seem like the same guy. And sometimes something that's happening in someone's personal life can impact how they play. They're just not quite themselves. And he came to us and said, I don't know that I want to play football. And typically when somebody says that to you, you say, okay, it's too hard a game, so I wish you nothing but the best in the endeavor that you choose, or you try to figure out what's going on in their life and to make them think, to make them feel that way, because he had made such an opposite impression on us when he first came to the Cowboys that previous spring. And so clearly there was something going on. He had kind of lost his perspective. And, we gave him a couple days to just think about it and encourage him to, just think this thing through before you make this decision, because he had shown so many positive things. And sure enough, I think he went home and visited with his family a little bit, made the decision to come back. And when he came back, he was like the guy that we had seen in the spring. He was ready to go again and take advantage of the opportunity. And, it was good to... It was good for him to go through that process, I think, because when he came back, he was full bore, ready to go, and has been doing a great job for us ever since.
Head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett, here with us on the Blitz. Coach, Joseph Randle had his first start last night against the Eagles. Could you give us a grade of how he performed?
Joseph did a nice job. He got a few touches in the game the previous week against Washington, and he got his feet wet a little bit. But yesterday was the first game that he started, and we handed him the ball a lot and had him in the ball game for a number of plays, and he just really seemed to handle himself well. I think he played maturely. He understood what we're asking him to do. Thought he ran hard in the game. At different times there weren't a lot of holes for him to run into, and he just kind of kept sticking his nose in there and making positive plays for us. One of the things you're most concerned about with a young running back is their ability to handle the football the right way. This is the NFL. You're going to get hit by these big, strong men over and over and over again, and the ball security part of it is really, really significant. And I thought he did a good job handling the ball. He made some positive runs, did a good job in the passing game as a protector when he had opportunities, and I think he played a sound, fundamental football game for us.
All in all, Coach Jason Garrett, you're happy you get the win. Defense holds them without a touchdown, which says a lot because the Eagles score so many points, but you also had a season-high 12 penalties, 75 yards. From a coaching standpoint, is this kind of game you like where you get the win, but you get a lot of things to talk to the team about to coach them up during the week?
Well, there are a lot of things to talk about, and those penalties, might be close to top of the list. We did a lot of really good things in the ball game, but you can't beat yourselves. And the turnover ratio was a positive thing for us yesterday. We got the 3 interceptions against them, and Tony had the 1 interception, and the other one was the Hail Mary before the half. So we were +1 on the turnover ratio, but the penalties certainly were a factor in the ball game. We had 3 of them on special teams and a number of them on offense and defense as well. And we had done a much better job of this in recent weeks, keeping the penalties down. The interesting thing is that crew has called more penalties than any crew in the league, and we knew that going in. And they called a lot of the penalties that they had been calling all year long. And so you just got to understand what kind of game you're in and make sure you don't let the officials get in the way in a negative way for you, where you have too much to overcome.
And it's kind of seemed like they could have called a lot more on the Eagles. They were holding Dez Bryant, it seemed like, all day long.
Well, again, we don't want to talk too much about the officiating around here, but Dez just needs to understand he's going to get that kind of attention, and they're going to grab him and hold him, and he just needs to keep fighting, and that's just part of the deal. And I thought he did a good job of that. He never really got frustrated with that attention he was getting. He just kind of played through it all and made a lot of big plays for us.
On the business side, Coach Jason Garrett, you guys signed defensive tackle Marvin Austin. Is that just a signing to add some depth to that defensive line?
Well, it really is. Marvin came out 3 years ago and was a high pick by the Giants, and somebody we thought a lot of coming out of school. And he's bounced around a little bit here recently, but he was with Miami just a couple weeks ago, so he's in playing shape. And we've had a lot of injuries on the defensive line, as you guys know. So I want to get a little more depth and give him a chance to come in here and see if he can help us.
Geno's or Pat's?
It's interesting. We had a cheesesteak at the hotel. I don't think it came from either Geno's or Pat's, and we had one on the bus going home. And I was thinking about you guys. It was the same deal. I don't think they had a label on them, but they certainly tasted good, particularly after the ball game, heading back to the airport and back to Big D.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, because I know you guys don't get to do any sightseeing. After a win like that, you got to feel like you got to run up the stairs and do the whole Rocky thing, but you don't really get to play tourist at all, do you?
No, we don't. We come out of the locker room, get on a bus, and head to the airport. But it was a good plane ride home, but now we're on to the next one.
And the next one is Detroit. Defensively, obviously, Megatron is going to be the guy that gets a lot of attention, right?
Yeah, he's a great football player. He really is. And, he's a big, strong, fast guy who can really go and get the football, and they're not afraid to give him chances. So he'll be a great challenge for us. But they have a lot of other weapons as well. Matthew Stafford's an outstanding quarterback. I like to throw the ball to Reggie Bush. So they got some other weapons we got to make sure we contend with as well.
Head coach Jason Garrett of the Dallas Cowboys, always appreciate it. Congratulations again on the win yesterday.
Okay, guys. Great talking to you.
Appreciate it, Coach Jason Garrett. Every Monday here on The Blitz, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Call them at 225-2121 or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Get the latest on your Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett, Mondays at 4:30. Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. mybestbailbonds.com.